Every time before darkness falls, this man sprays alcohol on the door of his house. As soon as he returns home, the first thing he does is clean his dog. The moment he notices the sun is about to set, he quickly seals the doors and windows with special steel plates. But despite there not being a single light inside the house, he still doesn't feel safe. Holding his rifle tightly against his chest, he curls up in the bathtub with his dog, and only then does he feel some peace. The reason this man has such heavy security is because once night falls, the outside world no longer belongs to humans. Terrifying hordes of zombies roam the streets causing chaos. Around 5 years ago in 2012, a virus spread destruction everywhere. This virus killed 90% of humanity, while 9% turned into zombies. These zombies fear sunlight, only come out at night, and possess an extremely sharp sense of smell. The main character of our story, Will, survived the virus because he belongs to the less than 1% of people who possess strong natural antibodies. Will drives his Ford Mustang rapidly through the deserted streets of New York. In the middle of the city, he chases a deer. In a world where he is almost the only human left alive, food has become the most basic and important necessity. But just as he is about to hunt the deer, a lioness suddenly attacks and captures it first. Seeing his prey taken away, Will considers killing the lioness, but then a lion and a cub also appear. Looking at the three of them reminds Will of his dead family. He lowers his gun because he knows the lions are maintaining nature's balance. Before going out to search for survivors and zombie hideouts, Will visits his underground medical lab to check whether the mutant mice he experimented on have returned to normal. At first, he notices no difference. In reality, Will is a brilliant scientist who developed a gene therapy based on a virus vaccine. Just when he thinks another disappointing day has passed, he notices that one mutant mouse no longer has the strength to attack. This makes him realize the mouse is slowly becoming normal again. If the experiment succeeds on mice, he may also be able to turn zombies back into humans. Every day at exactly 8 a.m., Will leaves home to search for survivors and zombie nests. He drives to a video store, changes the mannequins' positions, and talks to them as if they were real people. Seeing this, anyone can imagine how lonely a human must become to treat mannequins like friends. He marks every location he visits on a map and gathers food and supplies there. Every day at exactly 12 p.m., he broadcasts radio messages hoping for survivors to answer, then drives to the harbor waiting for a miracle. But even after 3 years, nobody has ever responded. To reduce his loneliness, Will spends afternoons on the Enterprise aircraft carrier playing golf on top of a plane. But during one of these moments, his dog notices something strange. There is movement in the distance. Will immediately grabs his rifle and looks through the scope, discovering it's a deer. Without wasting time, he and his dog go hunting, but suddenly something terrible happens. While running around, the deer accidentally enters a dark, abandoned building. Perhaps because the dog hasn't eaten meat in a long time, it fearlessly runs inside after the deer. Will tries to stop him, but now he has no choice except entering the building to save his dog. Inside, it is completely dark. Nothing can be seen. Even after increasing the video brightness, the environment still feels terrifying. Will's heart races with fear. At this moment, even a mirror could scare him. As he searches upstairs for his dog, he suddenly hears a painful scream. He fears something horrible may have happened to his companion. Trying to comfort himself, he continues moving forward. Following blood stains on the stairs, he turns a corner and sees a severed animal head. Thankfully, moving further reveals it was only a recently killed moose. But the terror on the moose's face before death is clearly visible. Seeing this, Will raises his gun and carefully looks around. Suddenly, he witnesses another horrifying sight, a group of zombies standing less than 5 meters away from him. Gathering courage for the sake of his dog, Will moves deeper inside. Finally, he finds his terrified German shepherd hiding under a table. Just as he is about to call the dog stares directly behind Will. Feeling something wrong, Will slowly turns around and sees a horrifying creature behind him. Will and his dog run desperately toward the exit, but eventually the zombies catch them. Luckily, Will manages to jump through a dark window at the last second, and as sunlight touches the zombie, it immediately falls to the ground injured. Although the experience terrifies Will, it also helps him discover a zombie hideout. To capture one for experiments, Will sets up a trap outside the building. He places a vial of his own blood at the entrance while hiding nearby. Within only 2.5 minutes, a zombie gets trapped. As the trap activates, a live zombie is dragged outside. But suddenly, with a furious roar, a terrifying zombie leader appears. It seems as though he wants to tear Will apart instantly. Will himself doesn't understand why this zombie is so enraged. Back home, Will focuses entirely on experimenting on the captured zombie, unaware that the female zombie he captured is actually the wife of the zombie king. Capturing her sparks a full-scale war between zombies and humans. Later, Will notices something strange. One mannequin's head has moved. Even more terrifying, the mannequin that should have been standing outside the video store somehow appears several kilometers away. Confused, Will points his gun at it, believing another human placed it there to contact him. But there is no human nearby. In reality, it is a trap set by the zombie king for revenge. As Will bends down to inspect water beneath the mannequin, the trap activates, and Will is suddenly pulled into the air. Because of a head injury, Will loses consciousness. He awakens when his alarm clock rings near sunset. As sunlight disappears, terrifying zombies emerge once again. Will quickly cuts the rope binding him, but when he falls, the knife accidentally pierces his leg, making the situation even worse. The final rays of sunlight fade away. Strange sounds echo from the dark building ahead. Then the zombie king appears and releases 3 terrifying infected dogs. At first, the remaining sunlight prevents them from reaching Will, but as soon as darkness fully arrives, the dogs attack wildly. At this moment, Will is badly injured and close to death. The only hope between life and death is his loyal German shepherd, the companion who survived the apocalypse with him. Will fears losing the dog. Remembering there is a pistol inside the car, he painfully crawls toward it. But as the last sunlight disappears, the infected dogs attack more fiercely. Enduring unbearable pain, Will struggles forward but collapses again. Just then, the infected dogs leap toward him. Will fires his rifle to stop them, but another infected dog suddenly attacks him. Its sharp teeth are moments away from tearing his face apart when the German shepherd jumps in to save him. But the worst thing happens next. During the fight, the shepherd gets bitten by another infected dog. Will's heart sinks because only he possesses natural antibodies, not the dog. Back home, Will immediately injects antiviral medicine into the dog and holds him tightly, hoping he will recover. Smiling painfully, he tries comforting himself, believing his beloved companion will survive. But then the dog's fur begins falling out. When Will lifts his eyelids, he notices signs of infection in the eyes and deadly symptoms in the mouth. Completely heartbroken, Will is forced to make the most painful decision of his life. With trembling hands, he strangles his beloved friend, the companion who stayed beside him through countless lonely dark nights. Will is emotionally shattered. But around this time, he also realizes something strange. Zombies supposedly lack human intelligence, so how are they capable of setting traps like humans? Unable to endure the pain anymore, Will drives directly toward the harbor that same night and recklessly attacks the zombies. Since he is inside the car, the zombies initially cannot hurt him, but they keep coming endlessly. They surround the car completely and begin smashing the windows. Some climb onto a lamp post and crash it onto the car. Trapped inside, Will desperately tries escaping as more zombies approach. Then the zombie leader orders the attack. Before Will can react, the damaged car flips near the edge, and the monstrous zombie leader appears before him. At that moment, Will is like a trapped deer facing death. But suddenly, a bright light appears in the distance. Someone is coming toward him. Unable to hold on any longer, Will loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself back at home with his leg bandaged. Nearby sits a woman with a child. It has been 3 years since Will last saw another human being, and he barely remembers how to speak normally anymore. The woman introduces herself as Anna. She explains that she heard Will's radio broadcasts and came to New York with the child, waiting for him all day. She plans to travel to Vermont because it is supposedly a safe zone for survivors. Hearing this angers Will. He insists that nowhere is safe anymore and all of America has fallen. Anna tries arguing with him, but Will suddenly explodes in frustration. For years, Will believed he was the last living human on Earth. This belief placed unbearable mental pressure on him. Over time, he relied completely on science and logic, dedicating his life to finding a cure. But Anna's arrival changes everything. Knowing other survivors exist gives new meaning to all his loneliness and hard work. Later, Anna visits Will's laboratory. Seeing the frozen female zombie shocks her. She asks whether Will truly believes he can cure zombies. As darkness falls again, Will seals all the doors and windows. Anna again urges him to travel with them to the quarantine zone, but before he can respond, loud noises erupt outside. Looking through a small window, Will sees a massive horde of zombies approaching the house. Shocked, he cannot believe they discovered his location despite all his precautions. Then he realizes that when Anna rescued him earlier, she unknowingly carried his scent back home without taking proper safety measures. There is no time left to blame anyone. Will immediately activates powerful lights around the house. Surprisingly, the zombies no longer fear light. Instead, they intelligently destroy all the streetlights before advancing. Will activates his final security system, explosives planted around the area. Huge explosions destroy many zombies, but when he calls for Anna, there is no response. Rushing upstairs, Will is suddenly attacked by a zombie that grabs and throws him violently. Pretending to be unconscious, Will waits for an opportunity, grabs a screwdriver and stabs the zombie. But it barely affects him. The zombie throws Will downstairs. As the zombie king growls at him, Will grabs a rifle. Surprisingly, the zombie quickly hides behind a wall, almost as if it understands human weapons. Will shoots a gas cylinder, causing a massive explosion that blasts the zombie outside. Yet the creature survives and escapes through a window. Will rushes inside searching for Anna and the child, only to find another zombie nearby while the woman and child hide terrified under a cabinet. Will signals them to remain silent, but the zombie notices them anyway. To protect them, Will bravely enters and shoots the creature. Suddenly, loud noises echo outside. Opening the door, Will sees the zombie king roaring at him. The creature has returned with even more zombies, and now their attack is fully organized and strategic. Realizing the zombies possess intelligence, the three humans run toward the basement. There, Anna witnesses a miracle. The female zombie is slowly turning human again because Will's vaccine is finally working. But before they can celebrate, zombies break inside. Will seals the glass door, trying desperately to explain that he can cure them all. However, from the zombies' perspective, Will himself appears like a monster. He has been kidnapping zombies and experimenting on them for years, and now he has even abducted the zombie king's wife. As the zombie king repeatedly smashes against the glass, it slowly begins breaking. At that moment, Will notices the butterfly tattoo on Anna's neck, suddenly realizing something important. He quickly extracts serum from the female zombie because her blood has developed antibodies strong enough to create a cure. Will gives the serum to Anna and sends her and the child through an underground escape tunnel. After sealing the gate behind them, the zombie king finally breaks through the glass. At that exact moment, Will pulls the pin from a grenade and charges directly toward the zombie horde. And with that, this amazing movie comes to an end.